السلام عليكم. بشوف الكاميرا كأنها شوي معواية بس زين شغلتها. بس بنمشي بهالوضع. الصوت زين. طيب خلاص بنبدأ شغلي ال الشات، خلي حق كل حد. طيب، الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise is due to Allah, and may Allah's peace and blessings be upon His final messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He deserves to be praised, the praiseworthy. Alhamdulillah for His blessings. Alhamdulillah for aiding His servants. Alhamdulillah for giving us these opportunities to increase in knowledge and to increase in faith, and giving us the opportunity to understand His religion better. Of course, when we started this course of Hajj, many people apparently they visualize something, but when we actually started the course, they saw that, you know what, it's not as simple, and we're just at the start. There's so many new things, even though many of you maybe did perform Hajj before that. But this is the matter. A person who's praying correctly, a new Muslim, for example, when a new Muslim, we teach him Salah, very simple. You just tell him, go do what the people in the masjid do. There's no room for error really, because he's going to be doing the exact same actions as the people in the masjid. But for example, if a person made a mistake in one of the actions of prayer, and then he asks someone, nobody will have the answer unless a person studied the different matters and has more knowledge regarding this worship, so that he's able to answer the question. And the same can be said in zakah. The same can be said, in Hajj, in fasting, in all worships. That's why, having, it's not about doing the right thing. Sometimes it's knowing what to do when something goes wrong. For example, we had the issue that, okay, what if, I'll give you an example. Let's say we're traveling tomorrow at 3 p.m. I'll give you an example. We're traveling tomorrow, for example, at 3 p.m. And Asr prayer obviously is going to be in the plane, and we're gonna land. It's going to be Maghrib. So here we have to know, what do we do? We have studied, for example, we have two options: whether to combine Dhuhr and Asr together at home, not in the airport, because the airport here, for example, in Dubai, the airport is in the city, so it doesn't make any difference. You're still not a traveler, even if you're in the airport, because we said for a person to be a traveler, he should be leaving the limits of the city that he's in, and the airport here is in the city, in the middle of the city. So you're not a traveler if you're in the airport here, this example. So for this example, we have the option to combine Dhuhr and Asr. Now, many of you will say, inshallah, none of you, because you've studied this. You know that combining prayers is not just for travel. It's for the need, because you're not going to be able to pray Asr in the plane perfectly with all the conditions and pillars. So what you should do is pray Dhuhr and Asr, for example, at home before going to the airport, given that Dhuhr time enters. Now, what if you did not pray Dhuhr? Now, if you did not pray Asr with Dhuhr? Okay, here we have another option. In the plane, when the time of Asr enters before Maghrib, you can pray Asr sitting down. You might be saying, well, why? I'm not facing the Qibla. I'm not standing up. We have taken this also. We have covered this in certain situations where, coming or worshipping with these pillars is impossible. Coming up with these pillars is impossible. Then you're exempted from the conditions and pillars that you're unable to perform. You're unable to bring. So we cover these matters. So it's important to understand, the more knowledge that you have, the more that you can protect yourself and the more that you'll be able to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all situations. Hajj is no different. Hajj, if anything, it's even more difficult and more complicated than prayer, because there's certain elements of Hajj that are different than the other worships. طيب. We'll start by going over the questions. Apparently, many struggled with the questions, with the quiz. So let's go over the quiz. طيب. The first question, Hajj and Umrah are both an obligation on every accountable Muslim who is capable of them. Who here got this wrong? If you're a person who got it wrong, why did you get this wrong? For those who did not attend, no problem. I can expect the issue with Umrah. But those who got it wrong. Okay, the first statement in the workbook, we said that Hajj and Umrah are both an obligation. So maybe you didn't pay attention to this. Okay. طيب. The second question, one is not allowed to perform Hajj on behalf of someone with the condition that he is related to him, unless on behalf of someone with the condition, one is allowed to perform Hajj on behalf of someone with the condition that he is related to him. Why did people get this wrong? So of course it has nothing to do. You can do Hajj on behalf of someone else with the condition that you have performed Hajj on yourself first. You have performed Hajj for yourself first. So this was the condition, and has nothing to do with the relationship. So it has nothing to do with that person being related to you or not. So those who got this wrong, what was the issue? Again, those who did not attend, no problem. Yeah. No. It has nothing to do. You can delegate anyone. Okay, anyone can delegate for it. So for anyone, that has nothing to do with relationships. Okay. Now, number 4, initiating the ihram after the limits is permissible, but it is preferred to do it before the limits. Now here, most of the people got this wrong, but inshallah, this is a matter they're going to be covering today. So inshallah, there's no issue. Let's start, inshallah. Hajj and Umrah are both an obligation. For those who are asking, Hajj and Umrah are both an obligation. So Hajj is an obligation and Umrah is an obligation once in a lifetime. This is what the opinion we have chose. Let's start, inshallah. We stopped at ihram. Yes, this is where we stopped. I missed number 3. Oh yeah, if a person passed away and left enough money to delegate someone, then it is preferred to delegate someone on his behalf. It's false. Why is it false? If he did not perform if he did not perform Hajj and he left enough money, so what's the ruling here? What is the ruling? He left enough money. He did not perform Hajj. What's the ruling here? He passed away. Why isn't anyone answering? No, I said no. I said you don't have to delegate if he did not leave money. Listen. Okay, let's go back. Look here. Here, look. If a person was poor and died without performing Hajj, then he is excused. No, okay, then he is excused. It was not an obligation on him. Then it is preferred for his inheritors to perform Hajj on his behalf or delegate someone. This is the issue for whom? Without perform, and he is, if he was poor. No, but he was poor. No, regardless, we said regardless if he had he had the ability to perform Hajj or not. This person did not leave money. He was poor. So this is different. Those who left money, no, this is an obligation. And we explained, we explained the matter here. This is the matter. It is a debt. It should be made with his wealth before splitting the inheritance. So it's an obligation. Yani, brothers and sisters, why are you confusing yourselves? I explained it, and this is last week's session, and I made it clear that if a person left money, he did not perform Hajj, then it's an obligation. If he did not leave money, this is the matter here. If he did not leave money, he's poor. Then here it is preferred on his relatives or the inheritors or anyone to perform Hajj on his behalf. Okay? Good. Many of you who are asking questions, Allah. But isn't one of the condition of doing Hajj that he should have enough money? Okay. So you're saying, okay, look, for a person who revised, I'm ready to give him as much time as he wants. But a person who did not revise, and then, we're struggling because this person did not revise, wallahi, I feel this is unfair. I'm here to help everyone, but also you should do your part in revising. I made it clear because look, when going forward, you'll not make it. If you're not I'll make it clear. If you're not revising, these are basic matters. Once we come to the complicated things, if you do not revise, you'll get lost. There's no other way. I cannot make you understand things that you do not revise. No sheikh will be able to put the information in your heart or in your mind if you do not revise. Look, I'm not feeling well, but I said, my brothers and sisters, they put effort. So I want to put effort. I might not be able to do a full session, but I'll try my best. So honestly, you guys should also be putting effort and trying to understand. All of us should put effort. Me as a teacher to teach and you to understand. Attending by itself, you'll get khair, inshallah. But you have to revise it. At least you have to go over the notes. Okay, we said we took the opinion of the Shafi'is and Hanbalis. If a person passed away, they don't ask anything. Was he able, unable? They say, did he leave money? We say yes. Okay. Did he perform Hajj on his behalf? Did he perform Hajj for himself? If the answer is yes, khalas, no issue. If the answer is no, they say khalas. We have to take some of the money to delegate someone when Hajj comes to perform Hajj on his behalf. طيب, let's say a person did not leave money. We're talking after his death. He did not leave money. In this case, they said it's preferred. طيب, this is one matter. Khalas, we finished. Now, the person, when did we mention delegating while alive? A poor person, a person who is unhealthy, who doesn't have the ability, but he has money. So here he delegates. If he has, see here, look at the matter. We mentioned it here in capability. Okay, we said, what is the capability? What are the conditions? Who is the person who's capable? We mentioned all these things. And then we said, here, look, a person who does not have the physical ability, okay, yet he is capable financially, he should delegate someone to perform Hajj on his behalf. We said this here. It's clear. It's clear. Yeah. طيب. No problem, no problem. Inshallah, we're here together. We're helping each other, inshallah. And look, يعني you might feel that I'm being a bit, يعني you might see that, you know, he's angry or he's strict. It's not about this. Wallahi, I want to help you. Okay. You have to put effort. Just because you have the right intention is not enough. The right intention calls for truthfulness. If a person is sincere, he has to be truthful. Otherwise, everyone can claim that he's sincere in wanting something. But a truthful person is the one who's going to act on that sincerity. طيب. Yalla, let's start, inshallah. And I really care about every single one here. I would have just started today's session and khalas. No, but I care and I want everyone here to benefit. Look, if you benefited or not, in terms of dunya, I'm not getting anything. But it matters for me because this is khair. I want khair for myself and I want khair for my brothers and sisters. And يعني I know we studied. I mean, I was a student. Hajj is one of the matters that the start of Hajj is related to the end. Even if you start at the middle of Hajj, even if you started revising from the middle of Hajj, if you miss the first part, you'll get confused because all of the matters are related. Even if we go over it all, you'll still feel some confusion unless you keep on revising and going over it again. That's why I made a text, the matan, and the sharh by itself, so that when you revise, you go over the matan again and again, and you try to explain it to yourself and try to mention the things that are not mentioned. The ihram. The ihram is the intention of entering the worship of Hajj or Umrah. So what is the ihram? The ihram is the intention of entering the worship. That is the ihram. Clear. So it's the action of the heart. طيب, what about the things that you say? لبيك اللهم عمرة. Oh Allah, I want to Umrah. This, it's preferred, to say this, to mention the intention out loud, because this is what the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. But the intention is in the heart. Okay, this is, the intention is in the heart. If he intended, خلاص, then the ihram started. It has nothing to do with wearing the two garments, the two pieces of cloth. It has nothing to do with this. It's with the heart. If you're in the hotel, you wear your ihram, you're still not before traveling, of course, you're still not in ihram. The ihram starts with the heart. Let's say you're in the plane, you pass the miqat, you're not wearing ihram, but you have to start ihram now, otherwise you'll pass it. Then even if you're not wearing your clothes, the proper clothes, you start your ihram. We'll cover this inshallah now. طيب, so ihram is the intention. طيب, this is the first point. The second point, where should the ihram be done? The ihram should be done at the miqat site. At the miqat, sorry. The miqat is the ihram date, ihram site. Okay. So it should be done at the miqat or before it, not after it. And by the way, people refer to the two garments, the white garments that you wear, as ihram. It's no problem. But the ihram that we mean here is the intention, the state of ihram. طيب. So the ihram is at the miqat or before it. This must be understood. At the miqat or before it, not after it. طيب. What if it was after it? Entering ihram after passing the site is prohibited. طيب, what does prohibited mean? What does prohibited mean? When we say entering ihram after passing the site is prohibited, what does this mean? It's not allowed. MashaAllah, good. So it's haram. It's haram. It's a sin. طيب, good. It's a sin. It's haram. It's a sin. طيب, but will the ihram considered valid? Yes, it's valid, but a sacrifice is required. A sacrifice is required. He must give a sacrificial slaughter. Must, an obligation. طيب. Okay, I wanna hear from you. When last time you performed Hajj or Umrah, where did you do the ihram? Can you type it down? So I'm assuming it was in before Jeddah, it was in the plane, or it was in Dhul Hulayfa in Medina. It's one of these two. Dhul Hulayfa, okay. Some of you are at the Miqat Dhul Hulayfa, some of you in the plane. طيب. Ahmed, write this question. Write this question in the Q&A. I'll answer it, inshallah. In the plane. Okay. Those who said in Jeddah, it's a problem. If you reach Jeddah and you still didn't enter the ihram, it's a problem. Yes, you wore the ihram from London. Look, this is difference. You wore the ihram from London, but when did you initiate the ihram? From the plane, apparently. In the plane, yes. Before taking the plane. Just in case, before taking the plane, at Heathrow, you entered the ihram. You entered the state of ihram. طيب, this is permissible, but you didn't need to. Anyways. طيب. Okay. Anyone who started the ihram, let's say, for example, they started the ihram in Jeddah. In Jeddah, if you started the ihram in Jeddah, after reaching Jeddah, definitely you have started the ihram after passing the limits, definitely. So here is your ihram valid. It is valid, but you made a mistake. It's haram, and you have to give a sacrifice. طيب. Okay, your questions regarding ihram, I'm sure you have all kinds of questions and issues. It must be. Write your questions in the Q&A. like the matter of ihram, there's nothing, I don't know anything in the books of worship, purity, salah, zakah, siyam, that is similar. Ihram is very, very unique. Its rulings are very unique. طيب. Now, so the ihram should be done at the miqat. Everyone should be doing it at the miqat, except for a group of people. There's a group of people that they're allowed to make the miqat, they're allowed to do the ihram inside the limits. Yani inside the miqat, after passing the miqat. Who are they? Where they reside, if they live inside the miqat site. Subhanallah. You had a brother that used to come to Islamic University, used to live inside the miqat site. So for him, when he wants to go to Mecca, he doesn't need to go back to the miqat. No, he intends from his place because he's in the limits. Yes, because he resides within the limits. Yes, he's in the limits. So here, خلاص, from his place, he resides. He intends. طبعا, this is for Hajj. Okay, while for Umrah, of course, Hajj. This is for Hajj. For Umrah, a person should leave the Haram. Even for those living in Mecca, a person wanting, that's why here some people said Masjid Aisha, yeah? I'm assuming you guys were inside Mecca, inside the Haram. Inside the Haram, it's different. Inside the Haram, if you want to intend Umrah, not Hajj, Umrah, specifically Umrah. Look here, I mentioned, except for what? Umrah, for those living in the sacred area, in the Haram. If you're living in the Haram, okay, of course, I'm talking about Mecca. I'm talking about Mecca. If they want to perform Umrah, they have to leave the limits. They have to leave the Haram. Sorry, not the limits. They have to leave the Haram and go back in, so that they combine a Haram and a Hill area. Okay, so that you're not confused. Any person wants to perform Hajj or Umrah, he has to do it before the limits. So before the miqat or at the miqat, not after the miqat. طيب, if a person is living after the miqat, so he's within the limits, here he performs Hajj or Umrah from his place. He intends from his place, and then he goes. طيب, yes, you can. Allah musta'an. May Allah make it easy on you. Emergency, may Allah make it easy on you. طيب, a person, now we have another group, which is people living not within the limits. No, they're living in the Haram. The Masjid Aisha, no, it's Masjid Aisha is in the limits, but it's outside the Haram. No. Masjid Aisha is in the limits, but it's outside the Haram. Pay attention. For those living in Mecca, this is just for those living in the Haram, in the Mecca. in the Haram of Mecca. Here, if they want to perform Umrah, not Hajj, if they want to perform Umrah, they have to leave. They have to go to the limits. Where's the limits? Not limits of, they have to leave the Haram. The limits of Haram is Masjid Aisha. They call it Tan'im, Masjid Aisha. So they go there. Now they're outside the limits of Haram. Here they can intend Umrah. Limits of Haram, yes. It's the limits of Haram. Limits of Haram. Not the limits of Miqat. Limits of Haram. Okay. Yes, and put your questions in the Q&A. This will be explained now. طيب. What are the mawaqit? What are the limits? The limits, they're fixed limits. What are they? The Messenger Muhammad ﷺ said. The companion said, وَقَّتَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم لأهل المدينة ذا الحليفة. So this is the miqat for people of Medina. وَلِأَهْلِ الشام الجحفة. وَلِأَهْلِ نجد قرن المنازل. These are all places. Okay, these are all places that the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ said, these are the miqat sites. وَلِأَهْلِ اليلم يلملم. وَلِأَهْلِ اليمن يلملم. وهن طيب. These are the four the مواقيت, yeah. ذو الحليفة, الجحفة, قرن المنازل, ويلملم. Now, the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ said something very important here. هن لهن. This answers your questions. هن لهن ولمن أتى عليهن من غير أهلهن. Those sites are miqat. Those sites are miqat sites for whom? For the people living in these areas and those passing by these areas. So if you're passing by, for example, Medina, Dhul Hulayfa, you have the same ruling as the people of Medina. If you're inside Mecca now, for example, you're inside Mecca and you want to start Hajj, which rulings do you follow? You follow the rulings of the people of Mecca. هن لهن ولمن أتى عليهن من غير أهلهن ممن أراد الحج والعمرة. And then the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ said, ومن كان دون ذلك فمن حيث أنشأ حتى أهل مكة حتى أهل مكة من مكة. So the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ said, those who are inside the limits of the miqat, they start their ihram from their place. Even those in Mecca, they start from Mecca. طيب. This is for Hajj apparently. Umrah, they have to leave the haram. They have to leave the haram. طيب, leaving the haram, it's in the, as you all know, يعني Masjid Aisha, the Tan'im. طيب. Now, this is the explanation. The miqat. So real quick, those outside the limits, they make the ihram before the limits or at the limits, not after the limits. Those living within the limits, they make the ihram from their place for Hajj or Umrah. طيب, those living in Mecca, if we're talking about Hajj, they do it from their place. Be careful. If they intend Hajj, they do it from their place. طيب, if they want Umrah, they have to go outside the limits. They have to go outside the limits of the haram. Okay. People living in Jeddah, خلاص, it's from their place. They're inside the haram. Okay, if you understood this, I'll explain the reason. Did you understand this? First, did you understand these three? طيب. You might be saying, why? How come Hajj you can do it from your place while Umrah you have to leave the limits? It's because they said a person should combine Hil and Haram. So he should combine, doing for Hajj or Umrah, he should be in two places. In the Hil, which is outside the limits of Haram, and Haram, the sacred area. So he should be in two places. So for Umrah, all the actions of Umrah are in the Haram. So that's why for Umrah, you have to leave the limits of Haram and intend there. Because now you're going to be combining both Hil and Haram. Hil as in outside the state, outside the limits of Haram. So you have to be outside the limits of Haram to intend Umrah. But Hajj, the secret is Hajj, if you start Hajj from the Haram, you're going to be leaving the Haram for Hajj. Those who never did Hajj, you won't understand this. Because in Hajj, you have to go, to Mina, to Muzdalifah, to Arafah. You're going to be leaving the limits, obviously. You're going to be leaving the limits of Haram. Yeah. You're going to be leaving the limits of Haram. So that's why people who intend Hajj, they do it from Mecca itself. This is just a benefit, yani. Okay. Now. So these are the four places mentioned. So the pilgrim must enter the state of Ihram or be in the state of Ihram before passing. We mentioned these are the states, these are the limits. No. For the people of Mecca and whose house is in the limits of Miqat, then they should do the Ihram from their home for Hajj. See, I mentioned here Hajj. Sometimes the wordings, I mentioned certain words to differentiate between matters. So they do their ihram from home for Hajj. Pay attention to this Hajj. I said for Hajj, not for Hajj and Umrah. Why? As for Umrah, the ihram should be from outside the limits of Haram. Why is this? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he commanded Aisha radiallahu anha. I think it's clear now. Okay. So I explained it, and then you go over the notes, inshallah, you'll understand. Now, the sunnah is to start ihram from the miqat, if done before from the miqat. If done before the miqat, then it is permissible, but it's not the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why do I say here it's not the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The sunnah is to do the ihram from the site, but sometimes we do it even before the site for safety reasons. Safety as in to secure yourself from missing the ihram. When is this the case? If you're in the plane, how fast is the plane going? The plane is going really fast. It's impossible to pinpoint the exact moment you're going to be at the ihram site. This is number one. Number two, in the plane, anything can go wrong. The pilot can miscalculate. The pilot might forget. You might be asleep. Okay, you might be in the toilet. Anything can happen. That's why we say if you're in the plane, start the ihram before even 1 hour before reaching the miqat, or even more, to secure yourself. Okay, to secure yourself, to secure your ihram, do it before. Okay, so you do it before. Here, I gave the example here. And this is the problem. Their announcement, look here, someone saying, so we do it before departing. You can do this, yes, to secure. But for example, if you're going to be traveling for 3-4 hours, after 1 hour of traveling, you start the ihram. Okay. Just confirming, if someone is performing Umrah and doesn't live in Mecca, okay, then khalas, he's already outside the limits of Haram. So he has the intention. He did the intention at the miqat, khalas, that's it. He doesn't have, because he's already outside Haram. He's already outside Haram. Okay. It's good you're asking questions you want to understand. But yes, he's already outside the Haram. Now here, for example, to understand these things, now you have to visualize Haram, limits of Haram, and then we have the miqat sites, and these are also limits. And when do we start the ihram? Before the limits. What about people living in Mecca? See, it's different matters, but they're all related. That's why it requires revision. There's no way that from khalas, you master, even if now you perfected it, give it 2-3 days, you'll mix up. You'll say, okay, for Hajj, we have to do it outside the limits of Haram. No, it's Umrah, and not for everyone. It's for Umrah for people living, what's it called? In Mecca. Now, for those traveling by air or sea, they should enter ihram while passing the miqat. The pilot will announce the time. طيب, usually it's very difficult to be accurate regarding these matters. So one should start the ihram before that to protect oneself from passing the miqat without ihram. Okay, this is the important point. If a person passes the miqat and did not start the ihram, then now this is for the case for example, you're driving by car, you passed the Hulayfa and you went forward. You say, oh Allah, the ihram is behind, the miqat is behind us. Here you can go back to the miqat site. Or let's say, for example, you traveled to Jeddah by plane and you didn't start the ihram. If you can find a car to take you to the limits, to the miqat site, and then start your ihram, then alhamdulillah, you have secured your ihram. So you can go back to the miqat and start the ihram. If you didn't start the ihram, you go back to the miqat and you start it. Okay. It's my voice. I cannot raise it. طيب. So if you go back to the miqat, if you can go back to the miqat and start the ihram, this will suffice and nothing else is required. Okay. So if you pass the miqat site, you can go back and do your ihram from the miqat. طيب. If ihram is done after passing the point of miqat, then a prohibition is committed, and even though his ihram is valid, a sacrificial slaughter is required. I don't want to confuse you, but I will confuse you. No, I don't want to confuse you. Look, sacrificial slaughter is different than fidya. Fidya will come to learn what is fidya. Okay, just be aware of this. This is sacrificial slaughter, dam. This is different. Okay. So if a person passes the miqat and he did not start the ihram, then he has two options. He can either go back to the miqat and initiate the ihram because he still didn't start the ihram. This will suffice him and nothing else is required. طيب. Or if he did pass the miqat and he entered ihram, then a prohibition is committed. So this is something haram. Okay, his ihram is valid, but a sacrificial slaughter is required. خلاص, what's a sacrificial slaughter? A goat, sheep, or a cow, camel. Okay, shared yani, seventh, or by himself. That's even more rewarding. طيب, why is there a sacrificial slaughter? Because he has left an obligation. This is for leaving an obligation. So we understand that doing the miqat from its site is an obligation. طيب. So far, is it clear? طيب, for revision, let's go back to the Q&A because many people will be asking questions. Right. Sure. The one who has been delegated to perform, so there's a question. If the one who has been delegated to perform someone else's hajj, will he have to perform another hajj for himself? Can you answer this question? He has to do hajj first for himself. Good. Yes, he has to do hajj first for himself. I was worried with your answer. Yes, you're right. Right. Question. Can we perform both hajj and umrah in one journey? My question, can we perform hajj and umrah in one journey? Is there a specific worship? Hajj al-tamattu, exactly, yes, good. MashaAllah, yes, Hajj al-tamattu, alhamdulillah. Some of you have a good background, Hajj al-tamattu. But not necessarily. You can perform ifrad, just hajj, and then after you finish hajj, you can do umrah. No problem, no issues. No issues. But if you did hajj tamattu, you did hajj and umrah. Okay? Yes, there are three types, exactly, yes. Right. Haram. Is the slaughter after the hajj? La, the slaughter from the time it starts, khalas, you can slaughter now, you can slaughter later, but it starts from now. Okay? Of course, the slaughter here is for the people of Mecca. You feed them, the people of Mecca, not back home, for the people of Mecca. This will be explained in the section by itself. I have never performed Hajj. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant you the ability to perform Hajj, Ya Rab. Is the term site Saudi Arabia? Is the Ihram site Saudi Arabia? The Ihram site, all the Ihram sites are they in Saudi Arabia? Yes, Wallah alam. They're inside, of course, Saudi Arabia. They're inside Saudi Arabia. They're around from all directions. They're around what's called around Mecca. If they leave their place to go to Mecca, can they just visit, or it's better to make niyyah for Umrah? Okay, this matter we're gonna be covering it now. So your question is, if they leave their place to go to Mecca, apparently they're not to visit someone, so not for Umrah or Hajj. Yes, just visit. Okay, this is a matter we're going to be discussing it now, inshallah. So pay attention now. Assalamu alaikum. Is there attendance registration for this course? There's no attendance, but there'll be tests and quizzes, and you have to attend. But yeah, look, this if you don't attend, you're missing out the point. And why didn't we just do it? Recording it in my leisure times and then khalas, posting it, and that's it. Me myself, they said this is an option. This is not an option for me. You know why? This is besides the point. There's many sheikhs. There's so many people who are even better than me. Okay, more knowledgeable, who have explained Hajj and Umrah, maybe in many languages, some of them English. But what we're doing here is that, we're doing it live. You listen to it live. You ask questions. I go with you and I help you if you have any problems. This is why I feel this way is very unique. It's time consuming. There are some difficulties, but we do it for the sake of Allah, all of us. So inshallah, Allah makes it easier, okay? Because you get the opportunity to ask questions. If you don't understand, in that instance, you ask the question. Okay, so Allah alam, this is what's unique about this. Allah alam. Where are the places? It's mentioned in the hadith. Okay, it's placed exactly. Some of these limits are not used now, so because people don't pass by them, so they use something close because it's not passable now. It's not used, But nowadays, everyone does it from the plane going to what's it called? Jeddah, or doing it from Medina. Doing it in Medina and then, in Dhul Hulayfa, when going to Medina first. What's the difference between Tawaf and Umrah? Tawaf is part of Umrah. Umrah consists of Ihram, Tawaf, Sa'i, and then cutting your hair. This is Umrah. Okay. Tawaf is part of Umrah. Can you do Ihram from home before traveling? Yes, you can. Of course you can. Now, there's two things. Preparing for Ihram, this is something else. Wearing the two garments this is not the Ihram. The Ihram is the intention. When do you start it? We say Labbaik. When do you say this? Labbaik Allahumma Umrah. Or Ya Allah, I intend the Umrah. When is this? When you start this is the Ihram. Okay. Can you explain the Ihram for Umrah? I'm confused. No, you shouldn't be confused. Very simple, very straightforward. For Umrah, we're telling you, where are you? Where are you going to be? Are you going to be doing it? Are you going to be traveling to Jeddah to perform your Umrah? If yes, khalas. If you're in the plane, you're going to be passing the miqat. So if you're in the plane, 1 hour after, or depending on your place, before you pass the miqat, and the pilot will mention, but you do it even before. Or if you're afraid that you're going to be forgetting, as soon as you enter the plane, you intend. You say لبيك اللهم عمره. Oh Allah, I intend عمره. Okay, and you intend it. وخلاص you say لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك. خلاص you started the ihram. بس very simple, very straightforward. If you're gonna visit Medina first, don't do the ihram in the plane. If you're gonna be visiting Medina, you go to Medina. From Medina, you're gonna be passing by the miqat. There you do the ihram. Very simple, very straightforward. Allah Alam. I'm suffering from kidney disease. How can I perform Umrah? Wallahi, we mentioned this from last time. If you're able, if you have the capability to do it, then you're able. If you're not able, then خلاص, it's not even an obligation for you. You get the reward for your intention. طيب. What about the case? طيب. Should pronounce. طيب. خلاص. The rest of the questions, inshallah, many of this will be covered, inshallah. طيب. Many of this will be covered. طيب. Many of these questions, inshallah, will come. I don't want to answer. I want to save my energy for the material. Inshallah, we'll see. طيب. طيب. Passing the miqat for those not intending Umrah or Hajj. Let's say, for example, a taxi driver taking people to Mecca. He doesn't want to do Umrah. He doesn't want to do Hajj. But he's going to be passing the miqat. Does he have to intend ihram? No. If a person wanted to pass miqat seeking any destination other than Mecca, for example, he's going to Jeddah, then he does not need to enter ihram because he doesn't want to go for Hajj or Umrah. Where did we get this from? هن لهن ولمن أتى عليهن من غير أهلهن من أراد الحج والعمرة. Look. Okay. ممن أراد الحج والعمرة. For those intending Hajj and Umrah. See? So who are the ones who do the ihram? For those that have the intention of performing Hajj or Umrah. You want to visit your friend in Mecca or in Jeddah, you pass by the site, but you have no intention of doing Umrah, then khalas, no problem. Okay, you just go inside. You don't need to do ihram or anything because you're not going to go for Umrah. I have some tricky questions, but I feel this is not the time and I don't have the energy. But there's some very tricky questions here, but let me leave it for later, inshallah. طيب. Those who enter Mecca repeatedly for work, example, taxi drivers, are not required to enter Haram because they do not intend Umrah. Pay attention to this. Look at this. Pay attention to this. If they intend to do Hajj while they are in Mecca or in the limits of Haram, then they can start Ihram from their current location. Yes, Allah, yes, go pray. Do you understand the statement? They intend to do Hajj while they are in Mecca. So they entered Mecca not intending Hajj. Then they said, you know what, this is an opportunity. Many people are struggling. I'm here in Mecca. Khalas, let me buy a ihram and yalla, I'll start Hajj. He doesn't need to go to miqat. For Hajj, he doesn't even need to go to Masjid Aisha. He starts from his place, wherever he is. From his place. Okay? Khalas, he intends and that's it. He goes. Okay? Like, if a person sought Mecca but not for Umrah or Hajj, then he doesn't need to enter Ihram because the hadith stated the miqat for those wanting Hajj or Umrah. What are the months of Hajj? This is very important for later. What are the months of Hajj? Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, the 10 days of the Hajjah. Okay, Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, 10 days of the Hajjah. طيب. Okay, brothers, we'll stop here. I cannot go forward. We'll stop here, inshallah, for today. And next week, inshallah, not next week. Next week, I won't be here. Inshallah, be a safe place. The week after, we'll start here. طيب. I'm not feeling well and I want to save my energy. I'm traveling tomorrow. Allah, may Allah Azza wa Jal give me the energy. And I feel really tired, but خلاص, I don't want to go. If I had nothing, I would have gone all out, even gave you 1 more hour extra. Wallahi, this is khair that I'm doing. But I have some other khair that I want to keep, save some energy for it. So please, my brothers and sisters, in the meantime, this is enough material for you to revise. خلاص, revise the matter of ihram. We don't want to take something new. Revise the matters of ihram. And inshallah, not next week. Next week I won't be here. Inshallah, next week, this time, I'll be, I've done all the things that I need to do, and I'm in a safe place and good health, ya Rabbil Alameen. And the week after, inshallah, if I'm in good health, we will do our session. طيب. Let me just take a quick look at the Q&A. طيب. جزاكم الله خير. All du'as. جزاكم الله خير. I was worried suddenly the number of questions started to increase, but apparently it's all dua. جزاكم الله خير. جزاكم الله خير. طيب. I apologize, so I'll have to leave. الله يخليكم الأسئلة هاي احفظوا لي إياها. Okay, and I'll answer your questions in the Q&A for the week after, inshallah. With this, we will end. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. جزاكم الله خير.